Let's look at some of the perilous pitfalls of online machine translation and Google Translate. Online machine translation is only as good as the user. If you use a calculator in math and do not check your answers, you would expect to make mistakes in your calculations. If you use a word processor and do not review your work, you might expect to have typos, run-on sentences, and style issues. Online machine translation does not have a 100% accuracy rate. If you do not review the input and target languages, you should expect to have errors, mistakes, and poor translations. Here are some top do's and don'ts. Do check the instructions. What should you include and what should you not include? Stick to the instructions and use them as a checklist. Do make sure you understand the instructions. If you do not know what the grammar means, for example, if you are asked to only use the preterite tense and don't know what that is, look it up on the web at studyspanish.com, or YouTube videos by Senor Johnson are great resources. Do break down long, complicated sentences with multiple clauses into short, simple sentences. In other words, do use short, simple sentences. Do check your English grammar. Poor English grammar and sentence structure will result in poor translated sentences. Do check your spelling. A translator will not always spell check the input language. Work that includes misspelled English words within the translated text looks sloppy. Do check your idioms. Idioms are phrases that cannot be translated word for word. So, in Spanish, to be embarrassed is not translated word for word, unless you want to say to be pregnant. To be embarrassed in Spanish is expressed by tener vergüenza. Literally, I have shame. Make sure idioms are translated correctly. Do check your pronouns. In Romance languages, online machine translators often miss reflexive pronouns with their reflexive verbs, especially when multiple reflexive verbs are listed in a single sentence. Do check tenses, especially the past tense. In English, we do not distinguish between past tenses like in Romance languages such as Spanish. In Spanish, there is the preterite and imperfect tense. Students, when completing assignment, find out what tenses the assignment requires, as well as the tenses that you should avoid using. You are required to know and be able to explain all the tenses you have used. Do check vocabulary. When a word in English has more than one meaning, the online machine translator must pick one. A good example here is tip, which can be translated multiple ways. You must review to make sure the correct meaning has been translated. Do review the forms of you. In Romance languages such as Spanish, French, Italian and Portuguese, there are two ways to say you. There's the formal and informal way. Google Translate tends to use informal you, and if you are speaking or writing formally, you will need to review the subject pronouns. Do not rely on Google Translate to do the work for you. It should be used as an aid to help you in your language learning acquisition, and it should be used alongside other tools such as dictionaries, textbooks, as well as native speakers and of course your instructor. I hope you have found this video helpful. Happy translating!